Hey everyone, and welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there's greed. Sorry, it's been a little bit since my last video. Had some company in from out of town. Something I thought of doing with you guys today, though, is just showing you a little bit of a breakdown on what I do when I open my computer and take a look at stocks and take a look at the markets, crypto, everything in general. So I'm going to take you step by step through that, just show you how I do this in about 10 to 20 minutes. This will take a little bit longer because for any returning subscribers, viewers, you know how I can ramble sometimes. So at first, I just look at what the markets are doing recently, and the S&P 500 keeps going higher. I have trend lines that look differently on different time frames. So today, the S&P, it's almost to 5,000. Did we get there? Look at the number on the right. Man, we were at 4,999.9190. But we were within one of 5,000. So I'm sure there's a lot of trades going through, people shorting maybe at the 5,000 level or selling off as we got near there. That could be a possibility. We'll take a look at the VIX over here, which puts us on different a different time here. It's going to put us on the daily. Let's zoom out a little bit. So the VIX, you can see it is starting to curl up, and it's been in these super low levels. So the VIX is the volatility of the markets, and right now still low volatility. Yeah, it's going up, but look, we've been a lot higher, so nothing really concerning there. This is a recession indicator, something that can show us that maybe a recession is around the corner. It's the US 10-year minus 2-year. And right now it's still inverted. The yield curve is still inverted. We aren't uninverted yet. So nothing happening there. The VIX divided by the VVIX, the volatility of the VIX, is still low. When we are spiked up, when you do it in this order, that's the time to buy when we're spiked up here. If you had the VVIX divided by the VIX, it'd be the opposite. So things looking normal there. Unemployment rate, we'll take a look at that. It's still relatively flat. Could you argue that it's starting to curl up? Sure, but same with the VIX. Nothing overly concerning there yet. Let's take a look at the fear and greed because we talk about that on this channel, and we are back up into extreme greed with CNN's fear and greed index at 75 or higher. So we are at extreme greed. Pie investing, a site that I like. We got underneath extreme greed and we've gone back up into it. There you go, right there. So me personally, when I take a look at this and I see we're in extreme greed, I'm very hesitant on what I buy. Not that there can't be value out there, but overall I am hesitant. Here's the thing though. You may be hearing that the stock markets have low breadth right now. It's a hard word to say with the D, T, and H at the end. We have low breadth. And what that means is that there's more money than ever in the top stocks and less in the smaller stocks. So, maybe as you get to your Disneys and on lower to your 3Ms, your PayPals, you might be finding some good deals. Overall, though, like your magnificent 7 stocks, not as much. Tesla, sure, that has better value right now, but not as much. So today we could take a look at Disney. We have earnings coming up for, is there anything else that I'm interested in buying? And maybe there's some for you. Brookfield Corporation, that's sort of a forward-thinking energy stock there. Pepsi, let's take a look at Pepsi and Disney. Those are 2 stocks that I use. Do I like them? I like Pepsi overall, and it's not just a soft drink. Pepsi and Coke get their hands in the way more. Disney, my wife likes Disney, and I have a lot of friends who love Disney, Disney World. Me, I'm a little bit mixed on them, but if there's great value, can't ignore it. Crypto, we're up in greed, and as you can see, we've been slowly going back up. We were into extreme greed barely when the ETF got approved. It was a sell the news event, short term, but we've been crawling back up. And so, hey, maybe we're going to pass where that price level was on the Fib. We'll get into crypto a little bit too. alt index, we don't have to look at this stuff. That'll be more for an exclusive video on crypto. Anyways, so we can just take a look at some of the Magnificent Seven stocks. Nvidia, that's a stock that I think I did it wrong. NVDA. Yep. That's a stock I felt very lucky in buying the bottom of. We'll go to the 5 year, so we'll put us on the weekly up here. And I have one of my favorite indicators on the 1020 MA crossover with Heikin-Ashi signals. This indicator can tell you buy signals a little bit sooner. I have another indicator that's more lagging if you're feeling like playing it safer. And so we haven't had a sell signal ever since down here when we were at 459. And I know a lot of you guys are probably feeling like, man, am I missing the boat on this? Here's the thing. If you haven't bought in recently within the like past couple of years or the past year, I wouldn't. We've gone up 50% since when was this? Mid-December. Gone up 50%. That's insane. So big corrections will be coming. The sharper this goes up, the more it apes up. I've seen this with crypto. It's the kind of disbelief, that it's going this high. When these stocks or cryptos come down, they can come down hard. So you are playing a big game of risk. If you were to invest 1,000 into Nvidia right now, could you see some short-term gains? Sure. I would probably bet that, yeah, you could, but I don't know. Long term, I'm feeling hesitant. Like, do I believe it's going to be up here in another year or two? I'm not as confident because this thing's moving up so fast. So we did get above 700. Sometimes these round numbers can be psychological barriers. Let's see, what did it do at 600? 600, we might have to zoom out a little bit more. So 600, this line right here. Got above it, got underneath it, and then boom, and it's already going up to 700. Some people are comparing this to Cisco in the dot-com bubble, thinking maybe NVIDIA is going to go above 1,000 to 1,100. I'll tell you right now, folks, I love my NVIDIA stock, but if in the short term this gets up near 1,000, I might even consider selling because it's just gone up so much so quick that I personally don't know if it can keep doing that. Right now, it has 1.7 trillion market cap. Something like Apple and Microsoft are around 3 trillion. So if it dang near doubled, then yeah, even I might have to consider selling. Let's take a look at Disney because that had earnings today. And what is Disney doing today? Maybe that's when the earnings report came out and then it's gone back up. Disney, a lot of people have been selling Disney for a while, and look at this. We got up to 200, so we're about half that. Is Disney 50% off? I mean, look at this. We haven't been at these prices since COVID and since 2014. So long term, if you use Disney product and you like Disney, this is not the worst spot to be in for the long haul. You could have gotten some better value back here, sure. And maybe you're going to wait for a little correction, something like the low mid 90s. Okay, I won't fault you there. But Disney, long term, that might be a great value stock. So again, my rules like if it's a stock you like, a stock you use, okay. When I see a chart like this, if I love Disney, I would have been putting money in all the way through here and here. Especially look at this when we touch the oversold region. Yeah, those are good times to put in money in. And look, we're up here in the RSI, so maybe you're going to wait for it to curl down and see, is it going to curl down and make a higher low, or is it going to curl down and go lower? We don't know. But long term, if you believe Disney's going to be around in 5, 10 years, it could get, there's rumors it could get bought up by Apple, who knows. But even then, maybe not the worst thing to look at. Pepsi, that has earnings coming out. Pepsi's a stock I'd love to have more into. And let's take a look at this. So if we zoom out a bit, as you can see, this is a very strong stock that just keeps churning up. It did get down to these levels way back here in early 22. As far as Pepsi, the stock, again, I really like. Look at where we're at from this last year. We got up to 196, and we are about 13% down, so not the worst time to buy Disney, or sorry, Pepsi. And from our absolute lows, we're about 10% up. So we're a little bit in the middle here. Let's draw a fib. We'll go from the absolute low. My cat's playing with the toy, if you can hear that in the background, to the high that I'm looking at way on the left. And you can see here we're fighting this 618. So maybe it's about to break through and go up to the 0.5. You might wait for confirmation, sure. However, if Pepsi did come back down here, got to the 164 range, look at all this accumulation. Tested it once, more accumulation. Testing it twice. Maybe it's finally going to break through and we're never going to see this again. So if Pepsi came back down to this 160 range, I like Pepsi. I might even consider buying some of that. So, guys, this is just some insight into how I look at what stocks to buy. I even like to zoom out. Let's take a look at the weekly. So the weekly, we've been getting buy, sell, buy, sell. So it's good accumulation right here. And overall, this move, at least from the weekly, from where the signal was to the high, it's only moved up 4%. So again, if you bought Pepsi here, I would not fault you for that. It's a very strong stock. Let's see what their market cap is. So it's about $250 billion. I don't think that's a bad deal. Let's take a look at Coca-Cola. Again, Pepsi and Coca-Cola, they have their hands on so much more than just soft drinks. So KO. And yeah, they're into lots of other foods. I think even like cereals as well, energy drinks, pretty sure. So Coca-Cola, man, wouldn't have been nice to get it at around 40 when we had the COVID drop. Most recently, October of 23, we were down to the 50s. Not a bad price there for Coke. So, yeah, this is another one. Just look at how this climbs up slow and steady. So, this is a stock, Pepsi and Coke, when it has these big dips, I would not fault someone for buying it. Now, if there was a big correction coming in the market, which some people believe there is, could you see something down here and around 50? Maybe, sure. If this had, and it's interesting here, I don't really talk about Elliott waves or anything like this, but it's interesting how we go up, have a little chop, come back down, and maybe we're testing. And you can draw this trend line out further. Look at this. It's kind of interesting. I mean, I know it doesn't line up perfectly, but sometimes, I don't know, I just you see these little patterns like, okay, maybe something that was a trend line, not a straight across line, something that's been kind of resistance is now support and it's going through a channel. So, yeah, take from that what you will. I have 3M here. This stock has been getting obliterated and they've had some legal problems. And I hear a lot of FUD and FUD, just bad things about a stock. Now, might the stock be tanking in the long term? Sure. But when I look at something like 3M, which I see everywhere, this stock's been around forever. It feels like one of those stocks that's going to be around for a very long time because they have so many uses. So on the weekly, we did have this sell signal. We touched down here. I would say maybe you can see a slight uptrend in the RSI. So maybe when it gets where that lower trend in the RSI is going, let's take a look here. I'm just going to draw this out for the weekly. If the RSI comes back down to touch this trend line and the price is here or higher, if it's a higher low, I would strongly consider thinking about buying a good dividend stock. I use 3M. I like their products. Now, if the price got lower and we're just creating a lower low and we go and we're still going lower in the RSI, you do have to consider that maybe you're catching a falling knife. Sure, you can dollar cost average in, but this would have to then be a stock where you have to change your mentality of, you know what, if you like it, you believe in it, and you're putting into it, even though it's making lower lows, that it's going to be one of those stocks where your money's going to disappear for a while, and you just have to say bye-bye for the next 5 to 10 years and just invest and forget about it. Again, nothing here is financial advice. Let's take a look at PayPal. This stock got obliterated after COVID, all that money injecting, PayPal got up super high around 314, somewhere around there. Had a big sell off. It looks like one of those classic patterns. You've probably seen them online where when something has a blow off top and then there's a sell off and people are angry, frustrated. So, what's going on here with PayPal? We had a buy signal, sell, buy. Maybe we're forming a base to finally move back up. Again, if you like PayPal and use PayPal, which I do, maybe it's not the worst time to consider buying in for the long term, macro wise. Could this get down lower and we're just going up and lower again and we're going to keep doing this? Maybe. Sure. Because looky here, this eventually became a lower low going up. People thought we are going creating a base and then weakness. We went lower, lower lows. Went up, weakness, lower low, went up, lower low, went up. And now is the time we got to see, is it going to make another lower low? And you think about just dollar cost averaging in there, sure. Something to consider. A reason why I like PayPal, even though this chart does suck, why I would even consider dollar cost averaging in is if you look at PayPal when its price was over here and you look at its history, and I have looked at PayPal's history as far as the revenue is way higher here than it was back here. And so you would think that if it's making way more money, then the stock should be valued higher. So that's one way of finding value, man. Like, you know what? Maybe because the revenue is higher and it's oversold, that I might get some better value here as an investor. Just something to think about. Roblox, they had their earnings report recently. Let's take a look at the last week. Maybe this, I'm willing to bet this was the earnings report. Was Roblox earnings on Tuesday? Where are my earnings reports? Here we are. Roblox. Where was Roblox? I know Roblox earnings was this week. Maybe it was even today. Roblox. Oh, yeah, right down here. It was today. And so Roblox did have earnings today. Let's go back to the charts. When was this? So this was this morning. Yeah, it says Wednesday. Tuesday into Wednesday. So earnings shot up into earnings, been chopping around. Roblox, hey, I'll tell you what, all the kids I know from people in my family, friends' kids, a lot of kids love Roblox. And when I ask kids if they are thinking about if they would still play Roblox years from now, a lot of kids say yes. So, I do think about when I was a kid, what were things that we were into? Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, obviously does so much else, but with the Xbox system, is Roblox going to be a game that's going to be around for a while, or is it going to be a Sega Genesis, something like that in today's day and age? Who knows? But so far, a lot of kids I talked to really love Roblox. It got all the way up here to 140, and now it's down here at 44. So might it be a good long-term play? Sure, maybe. When you take a look at its market cap, it's 28 billion. Let's just take a look at, and I know these companies do way more. I understand. So you just have to sometimes compare. Okay, Sony's is 120. Microsoft, we obviously know, is 3 trillion, but they do everything with computers. Nintendo. It's got to be Japanese stock. Is that really its ticker? I feel so stupid for not knowing Nintendo's stock ticker. Let me just confirm this. This is embarrassing. Nintendo stock. NTDOI. Okay. Here we go. That's what it's listed under. So, all right, roughly the same. What's the market cap on this one? 65 billion. So, I guess you could think of Roblox that way. It's almost about half the market cap. Is Roblox worth half of Nintendo? Maybe something for you to think about. Again, that's a stock or product I like. I play that product with kids in my family and friends' kids, and my other friends. That's a product I use, and so yeah, you might be getting in early on Roblox. Who knows? I look at this and I think, you know what? If I threw some money at Roblox and just checked back in 10 years, maybe I might be hitting some possible returns. But again, don't invest what you're not willing to lose, and you take your own risks. So if Roblox is another Sega Genesis, if you will, you'll have to mentally accept that maybe this money is going bye-bye. So it's the whole risk reward thing. What other stocks to look at? I know Starbucks has been getting a lot of hate because supposedly they support Israel. Not getting political here at all, but sometimes that FUD can put stocks at the lower prices. So yeah, maybe we look for Starbucks to get down lower. It's another good dividend stock. That's one I like. Any other stocks to think about recently? And again, guys, this is just a little insight into how I initially look at things. I also, if there is a stock I'm going to buy, here's a part I'm forgetting. You can pull up websites like Simply Wall Street and others to take a look at the earnings, to take a look at how much extra cash. Obviously, the better earnings, better extra cash, and the less amount of expenditures. Like, is a company in the profits this year or not? Robinhood app does a good job at showing where the earnings are, if they're positive or negative. But again, it's got to be a stock you like, something you use, and something that you believe will be around in 15 years. Here's another risky one, Rivian. So Rivian's been getting, look at that IPO. The IPO was way up here at 179. Right now, Rivian's market cap is 14 billion. For reference, Ford is around 40 billion. What's Chevrolet or GM? I mean, General Motors. Let's take a zoom out. General Motors kind of in the middle. Okay. This only goes back this far, so let's see. It got up there. So General Motors been chopping around. Its market cap around 40 billion. Ford's right around there. 50 billion. Ford is a stock where it's, me personally, I'm not big on car company stocks. When you consider something like Tesla, I've talked about Tesla recently. Look at that market cap, 600 billion. It's like 15 times higher than Ford and GM, around there, and its revenue is half that of Ford. So I'm not saying I don't like Tesla, but that is something that chart wise, as far as like earnings and how much a stock is worth, that is something I consider. I'm not a big fan of the value of stock that's put into Tesla, and that's something reflected in, if you Google or look up PE ratio, Ford PE, that can tell you how valued, overvalued, undervalued a stock is. Right here, you can see a trend line. You can see a trend line for Tesla. It seems to be bouncing off this lower part of the channel. Should it be bouncing again? I know that's not like perfect, but I'm moving the goalposts up to the bodies instead of the wicks. Okay, whatever. So here, okay, let's take a look at the price and the RSI. Price, RSI oversold. Price, RSI oversold. Price, RSI getting lower, oversold. So we're obviously just bearish. What I would look for as a possibility, let's say if you like and use Tesla, you want to get an Alcoa, and yes, I'll go back to Rivian, sorry, squirrel brain, but maybe you want to be more patient. You might wait for it to go up and then down, and if the price is higher, that's something to consider because a higher low. Or if the price goes lower but the RSI is higher, that could be some possible bullish divergence. Something to think about. So right now, Tesla way down here. It's my least favorite of the Mag 7 stocks, and I've told you why. It's just the earnings are half that of Ford, and the company's valued 15 times more. And I know it's electric, it's forward thinking, all that stuff, and there's a lot of negative news. So maybe long term, it's a good time to buy here, but I don't know. I've never liked vehicle stocks to begin with. But again, let's go back to Rivian. And this is just me looking around at some stocks. Okay, is Rivian a product I use? No. I have a friend who has a Rivian vehicle. He loves it. And so me hearing about the stock just getting crushed, I consider it. I consider it as something possible. Again, this would be a more risky play. You can see we've been down to the 12 range. If you just if you had some extra money to blow and you're like, you know what, I could throw money at Rivian and maybe it'll become big one day. Yes, it's at 15 billion. Maybe in 5, 10 years, it's the electric company of the future. They're nice vehicles. They look cool. The Rivian trucks look way nicer and better than the Cybertruck. Fight me on that one. I don't care. Cybertrucks are ugly as hell. The Rivian trucks look great, in my opinion. Their vehicles look awesome. So, might this be an opportunity to get in early on Rivian? Sure. It is a risk, though. This company is not going to have positive revenue in a while. And should we get a recession by then, can a company like Rivian survive? Who knows? But again, that's the risk of this. So, anyways, guys, I just wanted to walk you through how I take a look at stocks, some things when I sit down, just some indicators, things I look for. You can do the same. You can look at other indicators, and let's go to a different stock. Let's go to Amazon. I'm just pulling one out of a hat here. Obviously, yearly high, all-time high. I'm not buying Amazon up here. And this fib, we got to change this fib. All right. Does that change anything for us? Yeah, maybe now you wouldn't be considering buying Amazon until down here. This looks like accumulation, like it's getting ready to shoot up again. And if the S&P gets through 5,000, man, that could shoot up again. I believe I talked about this in a previous video. Higher price, lowering the RSI. So far, the RSI might be going up, but that's bearish divergence. So might we hit a wall at 5,000, get a little correction? Yeah. Man, this 5,000, we're right at it. Could we blow through 5,000, get up to like 5,020, 50? I could see it. I really could. And then possibly see a big sell-off. So it's almost like this 5,000 number has been a magnet. And maybe we're going to get through it. Shorts at 5,000 going to get obliterated. And that might lead to some great opportunities down here. So anyways, that's all I got for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Just on how I start to look at stocks. There's some possible long-term plays that we talked about. You know, maybe PayPal, Disney, Rivian, Tesla. I forget if there's any others. Pepsi, kind of, for the very long-term play. Great stock, great value. Pepsi is one of those where you can strongly consider buying the dip because those Pepsi and Coke, such great stocks. But anyways, none of this financial advice. And guys, I'm just trying to build a community here. And if you have anything you want to share, input, critiques, I'm welcome to it. If there are any stocks you would be curious to see how I take a look at it, please comment those below. I'm going to put out a crypto video here right after. And yeah, just know that, you know, what I've done with my experience, knowledge, you know, being an educator, consultant, somebody who is certified, worked many years in the field of psychology, I've noticed and I've benefited from kind of that reverse psychology when there's extra fear in the markets, when things are oversold, and it's a stock I like and use. Good times the dollar cost average in, especially when a stock you like and use is down 15, 20, 25%, and you see these indicators saying that, hey, it's a good time on the weekly, the monthly to buy. There's a lot of tools here. There's no perfect system. However, there are tools here, and I hope you're seeing how you can navigate your own risk. I don't want you to copy what I'm doing, but please navigate your own risk with any extra money you're using to consider investing. And I'm hoping that you guys take a safer approach to investing, because I hate to see people lose money. And if there's any ways that we can help each other get more value out of our money, I think that's a win-win for everyone. So hope you're enjoying these videos, and I hope you have a great rest of the week. Take care.